Gee, Bussy, what do you want to do tonight? The same thing we do every night. Get into mediocre drag from the waist up and review RuPaul's Drag Race. Hi, Ugly. It's me, Bussy, and welcome back to Hot or Rat. And today we'll be reviewing the premiere of Canada's Drag Race, Canada vs. the World, which independent sources are saying is based in Canada. And today our 9 international superstars split themselves into 3 different girl groups and were challenged to write lyrics and choreography to Canada's Drag Race new hit single, Bonjour. Hi. Hello. Hi, how are you? Great, thanks for asking. And the runway category was Queen of the World. So we'll be breaking down each queen's performance in today's episode. But first, baby, it's getting cold outside. But thankfully I've got Raid Shadow Legends to keep me warm and endlessly entertained inside. Raid bosses, dungeon runs, and PvP, oh my. Use my QR code or links below to start downloading Raid to your mobile device or PC right now while I tell you more. So Raid is home to many factions of champions. Over 600 of them, in fact. My favorite faction are the High Elves from Arabia. Reason being, they've been through a lot over their thousands of years in existence. They've helped the humans form into civilizations, beaten down the orcs in their bid for power, and even fended off the evil Seroth, Lord of Darkness, when he tried to turn the elves against themselves. The Civil War nearly ended them, but Arabia survived, rebuilt, and is now more prosperous than ever. Nothing like a full heart to keep you warm, am I right? And this month is huge for Raid. They've just released a brand new faction, the Sylvan Watchers, which includes some amazing new champions, like the Forest Elves, Ints, Druids, and Fays. Oh my. And the just released Season 5 Forge Pass includes the Defiant Artifact set to help you beef up your champions with added defense. Plus, Amazon Prime members can get exclusive rewards in Raid right now. But wait, there's more. New players can use my link or scan the QR code right there and get a free starter pack to help you get a head start in the game worth almost $30. A free champion, Ina, and this cool in-game loot. And don't wait, because you'll find these rewards in your inbox for the next 30 days only. Use my link to start downloading Raid, and once you're in, find me under the name Bussy Queen. See you there, and thanks Raid for sponsoring today's video. Now, let's boogie. First up, Team Touché, which was made up of Anita, Rita, and Victoria Scone, our self-selected campy queens. And Anita started this group off with some fun lines like, part-time man, full-time diva, listen up, I'm a comedy queen, known to be positive, I'll always be keen, and had a pretty clever closer, please refer to this ass henceforth as the new international queen of the north. I think she had a pretty decent flow, and what she wrote was well written. However, my critique of her verse is that I don't think she did a lot to really illustrate who Anita Wigl'it is to the now larger audience that will be finding out about her for the very first time. And for those of us who enjoyed her on Drag Race Down Under, like myself, I already know that she's funny, nice, and keen, and it would have been nice to see her take a little bit of a risk with these lyrics. The performance aspect, though, I would say she nailed down really well. And you can even see her entire group was taking notes from that over-exaggerated, huge, open-mouth smile thing that she does. And the show was overall cohesive, I think thanks in part to her contributions. I think what she did in this challenge was serviceable and safe, so I'm gonna give it a hot, but I think she'll need to push her boundaries a little bit further in the coming episodes to really stand out. Or maybe it was all strategy. And I think the jury's still out on that conspiracy, but she does also seemingly play it safe on the runway. She comes out in this pretty pink tulle dress, and she says she's living out her 90s model fantasy, but I think this really fails to hit the brief of Queen of the World. This is like Queen of the Prom, sure, but I wouldn't say this gown achieves the levels of worldliness that so many other queens hit on the runway tonight. I think she could have tripled the amount of tulle, and there still wouldn't have been enough for this runway category, which really should have been about doing the absolute most. And just like her song lyrics tonight, I think this runway was missing a dose of Anita's personality. Give me an over-the-top, campy, funny element that really tells me you are this comedy queen that we do know you are. Pretty, yes, but not my favorite tonight. I'm gonna give this a rat. And next up, Rita Baga. Are you ready for this, Frenchie? Because according to her lyrics, she came to bag attack. She also sang, the royal creature of Quebec is killing this verse with respect. And I definitely want to commend the energy that she gave this performance. The dancing, choreo, and lyrics were all very over the top. She was giving hyper animated and even different character voices in the verse. This was an electrified and galvanized Rita Baga who came into this a swingin'. She acknowledged her French roots, played with the language a little, and really gave great face to the camera. That said, I think her sense of humor is an eccentric one, and maybe one that takes a couple doses of Rita to get used to, or a couple bites, I should say. But what I enjoyed most about her performance tonight was this was a loosier, goosier Rita than we saw back on Canada's Drag Race Season 1, who, as she acknowledged on stage, kind of had a stick up her and that is to say nicely, I think she took herself really seriously back in that first season. She came in well known and wanted so badly to prove herself as the talent that she absolutely was then and still is now. However, that stiffness translated a little strangely on camera, so again, it's nice to see her really having some fun this time around. This performance was hot, and on the runway, she's giving Queen of the World and the county fair. Girl, I don't know why she was carrying around a bedazzled hot dog scepter, but I kind of loved it. She's in this mustard yellow and hot pink dress regal robe combination with a train, and as I'm describing this outfit, I'm really realizing how strange this combination of words all sounds together, but that really is kind of Rita's style. It's a little strange. Alien-esque, I think she likes to call it, but campy, and interestingly structured, serious, and whimsical all at the same time. Like, I can say one thing for sure, this garment has never been seen anywhere else in the world, except on this Queen of the World. It's weird, I love it, and I think this look is hot. Plus, I also loved her acknowledging there's not gonna be any thirsty wigs this time around in the confessional, which, as you'll remember, was actually a call out from Jimbo in an Untucked. Jimbo getting screen time on a season she's not even on? I could believe it. Next up, there's nothing soggy about this queen. It's Victoria Scone, who, let's be honest, delivered a 3-course meal this episode. Let's talk about it. In the challenge, she sang, "Honey, I'm Scone. I've flown across the ocean to give a piece of me a buffet revolution. Come join the monarchy. You can start the jam, cause I'll cream first. And if your bottom's soggy, give me an Augie Augie." And no, I don't know what an Augie Augie is, but I'll take 2. I loved how she heavily leaned into these naughty food puns and got even this poor guest judge, Angeline, asking about soggy bottoms. Everything she did here felt so branded, personal, and with this unique Victoria Scone perspective. And she didn't just say, hey, I'm funny, I'm a comedy queen. She actually wrote funny lyrics. And in a challenge like this one, this girl group challenge that we see done to death across the franchise, being unique, interesting, and funny with your lyrics, I think, has proven to be super difficult, and it so often just turns into, this is what I am, this is what I do, let me snatch the crown. She said, I'm not gonna do any of the cliches. I'm gonna do what I want on my own terms, because I'm Victoria Scone. Honey, I want seconds. This performance was hot. On the runway, she continues to prove she's got an excellent command of her branding. And she's not just a scone dripping in cream and jam, but she's also a glamorous drag queen with a beautiful silhouette on this runway. She's got this kind of old school camp style, but remixed and modernized, I think, into the modern drag era that is hyper-focused on glamour and beauty. Plus, this look paired with her verse, chef's kiss. Take the scone out of the oven because it's hot. And next up, we've got the maple She-rups, a pun for maple syrups, because, you know, it's all the Canada girls in the same group. Well, minus Rita. First up, Kendall Gender. And just looking at her lyrics, she had some really fun couplets that on their own are clever, funny, and punchy. Beauty so cinematic, when I turn around, gotta look back at it. From the town of Vancouver, half black, half white, like an old-time movie. And Kenny Jen, still looking like a slice. CVW, let's roll the dice. But as I read all of these, it is kind of obvious that the lyrics are fun, but I think lack an overall cohesive storyline. I think some of the best verses tonight had an overall thematic tie-in, but Kendall's was kind of just 7 different versions of look how pretty I am. That said, love the confidence. I also think the delivery of her verse could have been a bit smoother. There was something about the lines iterated one after another that felt very tight and on the beat. But like, do I think this was a bad performance or bad verse from Kendall? No, absolutely not. I really don't think any of the queens did bad in this challenge. It was really just splitting hairs, who's the best of the best. And I would give this a very safe hot. And over on the runway, she's giving Ice Ninja Princess from the Future? Question mark. I was kind of thinking Kill Bill, and then I realized she had 2 swords. And then I was like, oh, it's definitely Kill Brooke after this elimination. And so firstly, I'll say Kendall looks good. She certainly has had a glow up. I think this runway is evident of that. She's giving us an all icy white encrusted rhinestones, kind of reminiscent of Armor Piece's body, with a really pretty white silky cape. And she does get read by Brooke for giving more Queen's Bodyguard than Queen of the World, which I'm not sure was totally fair. I think it is very regal reading, but I do think there were some elements of this that could have been improved upon. There were some tailoring issues, it looked like, in the crotch of these pants. And I will also say about these pants, the length was very strange. They left a little sliver of skin showing between the bottom and where her boot started. And that awkward length kind of shortened her a bit, not great for the runway. I also think the swords on her back felt a little too costume proppy and not big and draggy enough. You know, you've really gotta, I think, proportionize accessories like that to make them feel more like a threat. I would leave this icy look at a warming up Next up, Icesis. She is going to teach us how to spell. It's Icesis Couture, and oh my god, confidence was radiating from Miss Icesis the entire episode. She knows she's the best, she tells us she's the best, and girl, after what she did this episode, that is not in question. She was one of the queens tonight who had a very meaty verse. There were a lot of lyrics, but I think she was also one of the queens who delivered really well on a large quantity of lyrics. Not everyone was successful at that. I got the call that it's time to brawl. I'm the fashion doll. Time to win another ball. Queen of Ice, head to toe precise. Time to roll the dice. Your girl's here to win twice. And I really liked the ending part where she did eeny, meeny, miny, mo, all these girls have gotta go. I think she did a really good job of capturing the silly overtone of the backing track while also giving an effortless delivery. Her voice sounded really smooth. And she was inserting these personal branding elements about fashion, being icy, and again, reminding everyone that she's the best and she's gonna win. All without, I think, taking herself or this challenge too seriously. If I were a betting woman, I'd put it all on Icesis. This was hot. And over on the runway, come on now, come on. This look screams money, rich, fashion. Touch the Icesis Couture, it'll change your life. Did she meet the brief? Yes. Did she go above and beyond? Also, yes. Girl, if I was any of these other queens, I would have looked at this and just been like, okay, well, F my drag, right? She said, I'm gonna do Queen of the North, but make it Queen of the World. She's going global here. The crown, the robe, the gown, the stones on the face, everything about this is excessive in the best way. She didn't just win Canada's Drag Race Season 2, but she's back, crystallized, and ready for the runway. This is a look that truly feels like a victory lap, lives up to her legacy, and reminds the judges that she won and she wants to win again. I think it's icy hot. Next up, Stephanie Prince. In the challenge, she sang, buckle up, cause here I go, Stephanie is Stunalina. Asian Queen is in the house, ESL, I'm Filipina. I like that she was having fun, being silly, acknowledging her heritage, telling us who she is a little bit, and of course, reminding everyone how pretty she is. Drop it low, they mesmerize, looking fishy, catch me, flip me. But I think she struggled to find her wow moment in this performance. She just didn't have that bigger cohesion or energizing, rallying cry in her lyrics like Icesis had. And I enjoyed what she did, but I can definitely see where the judges were saying that there could have been more done. Still though, a very safe hot for me. But over on the runway, I think she really shined. This is a queen who on her original season had great runways, very original and interesting ones. And this look shows us that she'll be bringing more of that, but even better. She says she's giving us indigenous Filipina, and that she's not just representing Canada, but the Philippines. And we find out later this look is also important to her because it's an homage to her late grandfather. And what I love most about it is how original it feels. These contrasting patterns put together to make this beautiful silhouette are just really interesting. Of course, we also have to commend the commitment to the stack of pots on her head, which are kind of her downfall a little bit this episode, or so it seems. The judges critique her for seeming like the pots are gonna fall any second, and sure, I can see where that could be perceived as an issue for a runway, but I kind of liked the drama. I was like on the edge of my seat, like, oh my god, are they gonna fall? Are they gonna fall? Are they gonna fall? And they didn't, so I was impressed. Like, could she have done a more practical take on this headpiece? Yeah, but I think, again, it was exciting to see her not do that and challenge herself a little bit. So this look, I'm gonna give a hot. And our last group of the evening, SRV Serve, made up of Rajah, Silky, and Vanity Milan. And Vanity starts this group off with a very important message. She sings, Bonjour, hi, je m'appelle Vanity. Black queens are not the same, so remember my name. An important message to her and other queens of color in the UK. We just talked about how the RuPaul's Drag Race UK franchise had to issue an apology for mixing up Black Peppa and Baby. And this is a topic that queens like Vanity, Taze, Tia Coffee, and Asina Mandela had talked about prior to even this Drag Race UK franchise mix-up. And I love that she took the time to put this serious message that was important to her in her verse. And after getting the serious stuff out of the way, she starts to remind us exactly why she's there and what she'll be serving. Never average, I'm a savage. Still a tucking good dancer and a bad bitch. Lip Sync Assassin, UK Season 3, the girl that had you bump into BDE. I think she also had the best closing line. Au revoir, it was nice to meet ya. Just serve that verse hot like a slice of pizza. I'm hungry. And yeah, she's talking up a mean game in her lyrics. She's confident, and I really appreciated that. But I think what took her performance over the top was not just the lyrical confidence, but also the killer choreography. She was backing up every credential she listed on that stage, dancing better than any other cast member. This was hot. And over on the runway, we see a new side of Vanity. She got this gorgeous velvety golden quilted dress with this pearlized, crystallized bodysuit, contrasting the smoothness of the bottom part of the look. I also enjoyed that every little tiny detail was finessed on this. You can even see rhinestones in the stitching of the diamond patterns. I think this was a great take on classic royalty while also bringing it to a more modern place, like with the cutouts on the top showing a bit of skin. The only part of this look I would modify, the headpiece was a little scrunchy. It almost kind of read like an astronaut helmet, but hey, maybe she wasn't going for Queen of the World, she was actually going for Queen of the Galaxy. Come on, Vanity, teleport me to Mars. This look was hot. Next up, Rajah Ohara, who appropriately starts her verse off, I'm Rajah O and I'm back again, popping on your TV screens and I came to win. And the theme of her lyrics seemed to be she's coming back and she's serious about winning this time. She came so close on All-Star 6, and this really truly could be her moment. And what I'll say overall about Rajah's performance is that she carried herself with an unmatched confidence. She's a great performer, and I think this was evidence of that. I do agree with the judges though. I think she overcommitted a little bit on the lyrics and they got a bit breathy, I think, as she struggled to get them out, and there were some moments where some of her lip syncs didn't quite match up with what was playing on the track. But oh my god, I had fun with Rajah and this performance was hot. And over on the runway, her Queen of the World look is her signature color, purple, and this look has elements that you look at and know immediately belong to Rajah Ohara. Something about the ruffles and the sleeves and those perfectly tailored pants. Like seriously, y'all, look at those pants. I've never in my life seen somebody make pants look this royal. And I love the sleekness contrasted with the opulence of the top part of the look, and the wig is amazing. She looks beautiful. This look is absolutely hot. Side note, I think I'll nominate her for Best Runway Walk so far. And finally, we end this challenge with a bang. It is Silky, Nutmeg, Ganache, and she came out to say that their group saved the best for last. Ayo, don't you know that I am Big Silk? And I am the show. Big, loud, fat, and free, the example of being who you want to be. Slayin' is my occupation. The Reverend Doctor got education. What she wrote and how she delivered those lines. Punchy, funny, self-referential. She did such an amazing job, and she also brought an energy to this group's performance that no other group had. I was getting so bored of this backing track after hearing it for the third time, but when Silky came on and finished it off, I was like, oh, I want more, I need more. I was actually shocked she didn't get a top placement this week, but I suppose maybe she was missing some super tight choreo. But yeah, this was a great moment for Silky, and she did not come to play this season. I would be scared if I was one of the other girls. This performance was hot, and I would especially be scared if I saw this runway. This was incredible. Like, y'all cannot tell me that you're not still gagging over this. I don't know what I expected from Silky. She has that quality of you kind of never know what to expect, but it's always going to be entertaining, and she delivered. She comes out in all black. She's mourning the queen, but guess what? She rips it all off, and she is the queen now. And this gown that she's in, girl, I don't know how the hell she got that in a single suitcase. This silhouette is absolutely insane. It takes up the whole stage. And I don't even want to think about the hours of stoning that went into this. It is beautiful. This is Silky Nutmeg Ganache at her highest Pokemon evolution, and she also knows it. She is absolutely feeling her glamorous, beautiful fantasy as she should. And I love when she like even sits down at the end of the runway and just like has her spotlight moment. This runway was hot. So concerning placements, our bottom two is Stephanie Prince and Kendall Gender. And I'll say this bottom two surprised me a little bit just based off the critiques that they gave the girls. It felt like Anita Wigl'it got some of the worst critiques. While Stephanie and Kendall also did receive negatives, they were sprinkled with positives. I think though picking a two from this bottom three will really depend on your personal preference of performance style. Because if you're not a fan of campy stuff, you might argue for Anita to be there, but if you're not a fan of like, look at me, I'm pretty kind of bitch track style lyrics, then you might pick these two. From a production standpoint though, I will point out there were more Canada girls than anyone else in this season. I think it's probably more fair to the Versus the World franchise to go ahead and get rid of one of them off the top. Plus I would ultimately argue Anita's verse was cleaner and more cohesive with her group overall than Stephanie and Kendall felt together. So this judging, I guess I was ultimately mostly in agreement with. And our top two tonight are Vanity Milan and Rita Baga. And Vanity absolutely deserves that spot. I think she was strong and her group overall was strong. But if I were picking the other top placement, runway and challenge combined, then I probably would have gone with Silky or Victoria Scone. Like seriously, if they were at all legitimately considering the runway, I mean, Silky should have been in the top there. Anywho, Vanity and Rita lip sync, and this was a very good lip sync. Rita was giving camp insanity and Vanity was giving polished dancer performance, absolutely gliding all over that stage and doing crazy stunts. I did react to this lip sync along with the challenge over on my Patreon at patreon.com/BussyQueen. That's my members only website where my Patreon family gets exclusive member benefits like early access to my YouTube videos, access to exclusive videos, and access to the Bussy Queen Discord server. And you can join by clicking the link in the description of this video. See you there. But Vanity wins, I think rightly so, and then gives absolutely no reason to why she chose the queen that she chose. It was so funny. But hey, knowing how the fan base treats queens when they start giving reasonings and talking about this and that, girls, I guess sometimes it's better to just not say anything. And unceremoniously, she panginas Kendall gender. I don't know why Kendall said, I hope I don't get panginaed. That was interesting. But I'd also love to know what y'all thought about everything that happened this episode in the comments below. I think this was a really great start to the season. Everyone did good in the challenge, truly. And the runways are already stellar. Can't wait to see what happens next. Now on to our hottest Hytes. In the challenge, I'll give it to Vanity, and on the runway, I'm gonna give it to Miss Silky, Nutmeg, Ganache. And I also asked my patrons to vote on their hottest hots, and this week they've chosen Vanity in the challenge and Silky on the runway. And finally, I wanna say thanks so much to you for watching today's video. I also wanna remind you to download Raid using the link in the description of this video. Raid's the perfect game to keep you entertained as you travel through the holidays, and don't forget, new players will get tons of free stuff. I also want to give an extra special shout out to Joe Rostron, Myriad and Dalkage, Jenny, Mike 12, Cortez Smith, and Bailey, who've all just joined my Patreon at the hot and hottest hot tiers. And aiding the individual, Ace of Heichel, Ashley Brungart, Cyrus, Daniel Sandez, Sticky, Felicia, Frankie Fernandez, Hector Simancas, Jeffrey Steenberg, Kyle Hermes, Laura, Seth, Louis Labrador, Ruff, Luke Peterson, Mark James, Matthew Burns, Matto, Michelle, Your Bell, Peter Kitty, Sailor, Steven, Topher Travis Lundy, Wheelie, and Will and Tana, who are all supporting me at my Bussy Queen Collector tier over at patreon.com/BussyQueen. Thanks for watching, love ya, bye.